Strategist Tricia McLaughlin. She was a senior advisor to presidential primary candidate Vivek Ramaswamy. Tricia, it's good to see you. Thanks for joining us, especially on a Friday night in the summer. Close allies of Donald Trump had quietly been urging RFK Jr. to drop out and endorse Trump for some time. I'm wondering, do you think this endorsement now will be sort of the win that they were looking for?
I think it will be. I think that this is absolutely a gift to Donald Trump. Tony Fabrizio, who's Trump's internal pollster, released a memo showing that in most of these battleground states, it breaks for Trump. And in these very narrow margin states, such as Georgia or Arizona, where Biden won by, say, 10,000 votes, this could make a real difference. But addressing what Selena said earlier about the Kamala Harris campaign saying, hey, we don't really care, I have to counter that. Their war room account, Kamala HQ, is already attacking RFK. If they don't think, or if they think that they can court RFK voters, that is a terrible tactic. You still want those voters to pull the lever for Kamala Harris. So why personally attack the guy who they were behind first?
All right. Well, put on your campaign hat for this question, too. Today, RFK talked about a post in the Trump administration. But when Trump was asked about it, he kind of dodged that question for now. I mean, it's all just kind of happening, broadly praising Kennedy instead. Do you see Kennedy as a contender for a Trump White House job? And what kind of role do you see him perhaps taking on in the campaign as it moves forward?
I think he'll take on a role in the campaign as courting those independent and undecided and more anti-establishment voters. I think he did a great job today about talking about the mental health crisis in this country and largely the obesity crisis in this country, which I think is largely related, but not discussed enough. So I really hope that he does have him as more of that subject matter and that niche group expert. That all being said, as far as an administration post, we got to win first, so let's get to November. But second of all, this is Donald Trump. It's kind of art of the deal. It's what serves him win and what serves the country win.
Yeah, good point. We are fresh off the heels of the DNC with the first Harris-Trump debate rapidly approaching. It will be here on ABC. What, if any, challenges do you see the Trump campaign facing as we move toward November?
I think we got to stick to policy. Because, Phil, if we stick to policy, Donald Trump wins on the issues every single time, whether it be lowering costs, regulations, immigration, foreign policy, pretty much every issue that's on the top of minds of voters, Donald Trump does well in. But when he gets into those personal attacks, those ad hominem attacks, that's where we lose ground. And that's where you start to see the Kamala Harris momentum. She has momentum largely because she's going off vibes and virality. The media is largely pushing that they're having so much fun, that this is such a joy campaign. But the reality on the ground is it's getting to seem a little silly and a little shallow if you don't actually have policies that are saying how we're going to lower the cost for the American people that have gone up 20% since she's been in office. What are you going to do about the immigration crisis? 10 to 15 million people have illegally entered this country since she came into office. And believe it or not, and this is such a disturbing report, there's 32,000 migrant children missing in this country. That is modern day child slavery and something we absolutely need to solve as a country. So she's got to get to the substance because Americans are starved for substance. We've been really fed a bunch of style, but let's get down to the issues.
Yeah, well, conventions, as you know, are generally about that. But you can bet that at the ABC debate coming up, there will be policy debates and exchanges.
They have good music, though, Phil. I'll give them that. That's for sure.
They did. All right, Tricia, thanks so much. Always a pleasure.